We're looking at something that we don't want, and we are projecting onto it tremendous emotion. This is not good. Hello, you little smashers and smashheads. How are you doing? Today I'm going to talk about something that the emissary said to me that rather shocked me. I think I was nearly offended until they explained what they meant. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So whilst I was talking with the emissaries, I said to them, my goodness, yeah, I don't really swear a lot with them. My goodness, I said, the world is absolutely crazy and I don't know where to get a hold of it. I don't know how to get a hold of it to understand it. And they replied instantly to me, what does it matter, Gordon? Well, I nearly went to the foot of our stairs and I thought, what do you mean, what does it matter? Of course it matters. And they said, don't misunderstand us. Don't be offended, Gordon. I was very offended. They said, the reason that we say it doesn't matter, what does it matter, is because whatever happens in this 3D plane that we're living in, these events, whatever happens will not change the outcome. No matter what's going on, the plan is still the plan and the route is still the route. Nothing will change. Then they emphasized the key is that we not allow ourselves to be distracted by these things, to be distracted from what it is that we want, from where it is that we're going. What they said is that there's really no point in trying to attribute meaning to what's happening. They said it's meaningless. It doesn't matter what's happening. They said what's happening now is only designed to wake up the people who have to wake up. That's the point of it. It doesn't have to make sense. That's what they were saying. And so they said, what's happening around us, let it happen. Don't look at it for too long because you just make yourself cross-eyed, like sometimes happens to me. They said, what you do is this. And they give me the analogy of a tightrope walker. You know, when you see them like going from building to building in New York with a big pole and they're like, it's got tights on. They always seem to like to wear tights, don't they? Maybe that was in the olden days. And they're walking along. They said to me, when you look at a tightrope walker, where is his or her focus? And of course, the focus is always where they want to go, where they want to be. They're not looking down, okay? They're not looking around them. They're not checking to see whether the pole's balanced. No, they are looking absolutely dead ahead at where they want to go. And then they reminded me of something I haven't thought about for ages, about when I was a kid. In our house, it was a very male-oriented house, we had a dartboard in the kitchen. Okay, it was interesting because the dartboard in the kitchen was just above what we called a serving hatch that my dad had made this hole so that we could pass food through to the dining room. It was a dangerous place to be. If you were in the dining room and you came to talk through the serving hatch, putting it like this, and the dartboard was here, if we were playing darts, you could be in big trouble. And more than once, we had darts where we didn't want darts. But anyway, I digress. So we had a dartboard, and I used to play darts with my brother, with my dad, very often. And I wasn't very good at it. And, you know, I wasn't consistent. Sometimes I could get stuff, and sometimes I couldn't. Until one day, I discovered the secret of darts for me. You see, when I was playing, I used to be thinking, no, it's the way I'm holding my dart, it's the arm, I've got to get my throw right, it's my stance, and whatever. And then I discovered one day that all I needed to do was to take a breath, let the breath out, and look exactly at where I wanted the dart to go. And what would happen if I just focused on where I wanted the dart to go with no other thought, thoughtless, just where I wanted to go, then my body and my arm would put themselves into the correct position for me to do that. Once I discovered that all I needed to do was to look where I needed the dart to go, it started to be much more accurate. Like in the tests when they have two groups of people throwing baskets in a basketball, and one group throw the ball, okay, and the other group pretend to throw the ball. And what they discovered was, after practice, the people who just pretended to throw the ball, when they got an actual ball and did it, they were far more accurate than the other group. Why? Because when you pretend, there's no failure. Every single time you're looking where you want the ball and it goes in. Why am I sharing you this? Because the emissaries was saying to me that this is the fundamentals of manifesting in your life. It's the fundamental way of making something happen that you want to happen. All that you need to do is look at what you want, which comes back to them saying, what does it matter what's going on around us? Don't look at it. Don't be distracted. Focus on what it is and where it is that you're going. You know the expression, where your attention goes, energy flows. It's a cliche, but it's true. Where our attention goes, and also where our words go. You know, when I was talking last time about the black pillars and how they're a bit miserable. One of the things that black pillars do is to get us to look in the wrong direction. We're looking at something that we don't want, and we are projecting onto it tremendous emotion. This is not good. We've got to look at what we want. We've got to say what it is that we want, not what we don't want. Why? Because when we say what we don't want, our mind hears what we want. For example, I'll give you an example. It's a classic one, but I've changed it slightly. If I said to you, do not think of a hippopotamus with diarrhea. What is the first thing that you've got to think about? When I say don't think of a hippopotamus with diarrhea, the first thing you've got to do is to see the hippopotamus, and then you have to not see it. That's because the mind struggles with negatives. We struggle with I don't. If I say I don't smoke, what we've got to do is we've got to get an image of smoking and then maybe putting the cigarettes to one side or whatever. So what we have to do all of the time is talk about what we are and what we want, and avoid what we don't want. It just messes things up. It messes up the imagery. It messes up the feeling. In fact, changing the way that we project, the way that we look at what it is that we want and what we don't want, it's a whole field of understanding. And I'm going to talk about it in the next video about how we can do these things. But the simplest thing that I learned was, instead of saying, I've got a problem, right? What does that do when you say, I've got a problem? That's a barrier, that's a stoppage, that there's no flow with I've got a problem. That means, oof, I'm stopped, I'm stuck. Whereas when we say, hey, I've got this challenge to overcome, right? It's just a change of words. But what happens is it does something to your mind. It does something to your mind. You see, for example, if I said to you, right, so you've got this problem, but I know that you can get over it, okay? I know that you can get over it. And this is something I use in therapy, right? What have I just done? I have created an image of you going over the top of the problem and then carrying on, leaving the problem behind. That puts you in a very resourceful state just by using a word like get over, or two words, get over, okay? It's the same as, hey, this is a bit of an obstacle, but I can get round it by, I think there must be a way of getting round it. Okay, so all of these ways of speaking program your mind and program your listener too, to come up with ways of getting round it. Because if you say there must be a way of getting round it, everybody then starts having to focus and to process what is the way that we can use to get round it. Whereas just when we say, this is an obstacle, isn't it? Poof, we'll never get over this. I'll never get over it. This is a program. It keeps you stuck. No options. Once you understand that, then you can play with your own mind. You can play with your own self And you can reprogram your mind to make sure that you're going toward what it is that you want and not focusing on what you don't want. And so it's for that reason that it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Let's not use it as a distraction. I like looking at it every now and again, not because I'm thinking, ooh, I don't want that. I know that that's not going to happen. I look at it sometimes to have a laugh. Sometimes it makes me laugh. Every now and again, if I catch myself where I go, oof, that is too much, then I leave it. I pull away. But what I'm aware of now is that all of the things that used to make me go boom and a heavy weight in my stomach, now I look at them and think, what, that old chestnut. And that's just because, after 20 years or whatever being awake, like, oh, the same old shit. Like, I tell you what's happening with the meningitis thing going on in the UK, and they've had the pre-plan run of what it would be like if we had a meningitis outbreak, and then suddenly we've got one. It's just the same shit regurgitated. And I think Harry in the Peaceful Rebellion group, by the way, we have a Telegram group called Peaceful Rebellion. The invite's in the video information. You can come and join us if you're a nice person. Well, he said, I don't think it'll wash. And I'm in total agreement. Like, people have seen that. It's the same story. It's the same story over and over again, which is the only thing that they're capable of doing, the baddies, is regurgitating, re-vomiting the same thing. Why? Because they have no creative ability. None. But we have tons. And that's why we need to focus on what we want. They want us to focus on what they want. No. We're going to focus on what we want. And I'll explain in the next video maybe some things that happened to me about how focusing on what you want gets what you want. So put in the comments what it is that you're focusing on at the moment, something positive that you want to manifest in your life. What is it? What have you got? What's your plan? What's your objective? Do you have a little project or something like that you're focusing on? I'd like to know. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.